Hello there, Aquarius. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot video forecast for the month of March 2016. What we are looking at is not going to be a comprehensive look at the whole month, but it is going to be a look at a main theme. We're technically going to be looking at a life cycle, and we all have several life cycles going on at the same time. They generally do overlap each other, and basically a life cycle just sets us up to either learn something or to experience something, and then as we integrate that lesson or experience, then we get ready to graduate from that life cycle and move on to the next one. So this, like I said, is not going to be looking at the whole month, but this is going to be looking at one main theme that you're dealing with as you go through the month. Now, also, I want to just announce, obviously, these are general readings, so not everything is going to apply to every single Aquarius that watches this video. What was I going to say? I'm totally having a brain fart here. Okay, so... Oh, but my agreement with Sacred Spirit is that the things that come up in this video will apply to the majority of Aquarians who actually watch this video. And also that whatever comes up as a message here is something that is for your highest and best good to hear. So even if it doesn't sound like flowers and champagne and happiness and rainbows and teddy bears, that doesn't mean that that what comes up isn't for your highest and best good. It may be that you need to hear something that really doesn't sound like such a positive thing so that you can be prepared when it comes in. Or maybe you even watch this video in retrospect, and just hearing about it in retrospect helps you understand something that you're going through. So please don't assume just because it doesn't sound like flowers and teddy bears that it's a negative rating. Whatever comes through is for your highest and best good, so there is positive use for any information that comes across. Okay, so let's get on with your reading, Aquarius. The first thing that's showing up does talk to me about your environment. And it looks to me, well, first of all, let me just define environment. That's going to be any place where you have energy or effort invested. Most times in a private reading, I see that coming up as home, but I have also seen it come up as work and as school occasionally. So any place you have energy or effort invested can be an environment. And what I've got coming up is it looks like it looks like you would like to leave your environment, and maybe you've even attempted to do so, but it's like you kind of keep getting stuck or keep getting brought back. You can't quite get away from your environment just yet, or you haven't been able to just yet. The next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about your subconscious leanings. And with subconscious leanings, these are things that are going on in the background of your mind. Every once in a while, they'll make it forward to consciousness just for like a little blip on the radar screen, basically, and then it goes back into background. But there's something going on where, is this past or is this just a worry? Okay, so there's something going on where there's a worry that you have that there's going to be some kind of big shakeup in your life. For some of you, this is coming up as for work. For others of you, this is coming up as a family thing. Like maybe you may be worried about, what happens if something happens to one of my parents or to an aunt or an uncle, or maybe even for some of you a child. But this is coming up as a worry. So I'm not saying that something is going to happen. I'm saying this is something that you're worried about. And your subconscious is working on all the what ifs. What if this big shakeup would happen? Whether it's a shakeup that's at work, or whether it's a shakeup in your family, whatever it is that you have worried about, this is your subconscious mind really working out, okay, worst case scenario happened. What would we do? How would we handle that? Just kind of putting on the seatbelt and getting prepared is what your subconscious mind is doing. And I just want to stress that just because your subconscious is putting on a seatbelt and getting prepared does not mean anything bad or negative is going to happen. It just means that there's this worry running around rampant. And you might want to, if you can, kind of take a look at that and see where that's actually coming from, and sort of get a grip on whether it's based in any kind of reality or not, because many times worries really are not. All right, so the next thing that I'm looking at has to do with your learning style. What I've got coming in is that right now you're not really happy with the things that you are learning about, or that you feel like you need to learn about. It seems to me like some of you are having to do some kind of due diligence, research, or education for yourself. And whatever is that situation where you're having to do that due diligence, I'm feeling like you just don't even like it that you're in that situation. So learning is a little bit frustrating for you because this is not something that you ever thought you wanted to learn anything about, and now here you are back kind of against the wall having to. Um, as far as communication style, what's going on here? I feel like you're a big communicator whenever it comes to this particular life cycle in March, Aquarius. And really, from what I know of you guys are that's kind of your personality anyway in general. And I'm really picking up a lot of small talk. You guys are really into not really going into deep conversations very often, just with select few who are in your inner circle. And even then, I don't see a deep conversation lasting a very long time. But I have tons and tons of stuff coming up as just chit chat and getting to know people on the surface, and really that social, friendly type conversation. But like I said, most of your conversation not going too deep, most of your communication not going too deep in March. And I think that's pretty much typical from what I know of you guys. Anyway, let's see. So the next card that we have talks to me about work. And there's two different ways that work can come in for me. Work can come in as literally that thing that you do to make money, but work can also come in as those things that you're doing to improve yourself or to improve your own character. And so what I have showing here, you'll kind of know which way this is coming in for you. For some of you, it may come in for both ways, but most of you just one or the other. Hang on. Excuse me. Throat was getting a little scratchy. Okay, so with work, what we've got is for those of you who this is coming through as something that you do to make a living, I feel like during March you are going to have a significant amount of downtime. This can be time off where you actually don't go into work. This can be taking vacation. This can be calling in. This can be maybe even if you're working at some place where they have some scheduled downtime coming up. This could be something like that. For an example, my dad used to work at GM, and during the summertime they would usually have what they called model change, where they would retool the assembly line for the new models that were going to be made there. And so the guys would usually be off work for 1 to 2 weeks. So this could be something like that, like a scheduled downtime that's coming up for you Aquarians in March. But I just see that you have a significant portion of your time where you're actually not going to work at that job that you make your living at. So that's coming up for some of you as work. Now, that's talking about work where you actually make money. If this is coming up as work, as in what you're doing to improve your own self or improve your own character, I feel like it's come to your attention, Aquarians, that some of you don't know how to really just relax and not be constantly doing some kind of work. And so for those of you that's coming in as a way that you're improving your character, this is just talking about relaxing and just letting go and being okay with the idea that you're not getting something accomplished for this particular 20 minutes or 2 hours or whatever it is, whatever your level is of relaxation to work ratio there. All right, so the next card talks to me about that part of you that's being grown or expanded right now, Aquarius. And it looks to me like there's something going on where you are sacrificing, and I feel like you're sacrificing because you feel like the sacrifice that you're making is going to actually make things better for somebody else in your life. So you're sacrificing for somebody else. And that's the part of you that's being grown or expanded right now, that selfless part of you. Excuse me. Okay, so the next thing that I'm looking at is what you stand for right now. And so as you're going through this life cycle in March, um, there is some kind of decision that you are trying to make. And this decision not only affects you, but it also affects several other people in your sphere of influence. And so you're trying to really look at this decision in the most fair way possible, from the most perspectives possible, so that once this decision is made, it affects as many people as possible and in as much a possible way, in as much a positive way as possible. And so as you are working on this and trying to make the best decision you can here, I feel like you're getting some opposition from some people in your life. And these are people that are coming to you and saying, you know, well, what does it matter how it affects so-and-so? Who cares? We don't even know that person that well. Let's just make sure that the decision affects us in a positive way. And I think that really, I have the sense that that really ticks you off. That is just like unacceptable, an unacceptable way of thinking to you. And so that's something that you stand for, that that ability to be able to really try to look out for everybody in this decision that you're making. Now, the next thing that comes up, it talks about how other people perceive you. And so this is the card that not everybody agrees with. We don't always see ourselves the way other people see us. But as people look at you, Aquarius, they're seeing somebody who is very good at handling business. They see somebody who's very good at making plans, very good at focusing on following through with those plans, and on having really having those targets and keeping them in front of them. They see you as somebody who doesn't pay so much attention to emotions, that when you make a decision, it really is based on logic, so that you have this sound, firm decision whenever you make it. And I feel like also you don't look back once you've made a decision, and I feel like people really sense that or know that about you. That's one of the impressions that they have of you. Now, the next thing I'm looking at is the lesson or experience that gets you through the completion of this life cycle. And it looks like what you're experiencing is some kind of energy block around you. And when I see this, to me, this is talking about that people around you are not really cooperating in what should be common goals. So if you're working for a company, and the whole goal of everybody working for the company is to promote that company and make sure that the image of it with the public is a good image, and that there's a quality product going out at a reasonable price that is helpful, truly helpful to the client or the customer, then this would be somebody or some people that really don't care about the mission of that company, and so they're doing things that really are detrimental instead of helpful to the company. So I feel like what we've got going on here is where you're trying to work with other people and you're trying to do things in a positive way, in a good way, you know, walking the good red road. You have people around you that just are very lackadaisical, and they don't really care, just as long as they get their paycheck, and they're not really thinking about how their actions may impact that company and how that company does. So that's what I see you kind of dealing with as the lesson or experience, is dealing with that blocked energy, dealing with people that have apathy about a project that you're working on that is supposed to be something that you're working on with other people. Now, this doesn't have to be happening at work, although this is kind of the most common setup for this. This could be something that, you know, your family is all working on together, or something that you have a group of friends, or maybe you're in some kind of network or group where you're all supposed to have a common goal, and just not everybody is really fully on board. So there's some blocked energy there that you're having to deal with. What I'm finding as you are dealing with this blocked energy is actually really cool. Because what's coming out of this is you are learning how to tune into your own inner guidance system, because you can't count on the other people around you to really be there for you and to do things the way that they're supposed to be done with integrity. So you are tapping into your own inner guidance system, to your connection with Sacred Spirit, and you're really learning to follow that guidance that comes in from Sacred Spirit for you. The next thing is I see you really expanding your own leadership skills. And this is really cool, because when I see this card come up, not only is it talking about a leader who has a lot of integrity, who will stand up for their people if their people need to be backed up for any reason, but this is somebody who cares about everybody because they're human, and it doesn't matter what brand of shoes they're wearing or which side of town they came from or what color their hair is or their skin is. None of that matters. This is a leadership style that respects everybody just because they've got the breath of life in them. And so that's where I see you really growing. I see that leadership skill really growing in you. And when you become this type of leader with this type of universal respect for human life, what happens is people flock to do what you would like to have done. And especially people who have been mistreated by other leaders just for some ridiculous, crazy reason, like maybe they're not wearing the right brand of shoes or their skin tone isn't the right color or whatever. When they're treated with respect and they're treated well, then they want to help that person that treats them well. So this is the type of leader that has integrity, and by having this integrity, you really inspire other people to follow you much more easily than a lot of leaders have people following them. So this is way, way, way cool. This is really learning mature leadership because of this energy blockage. You're just learning that, you know, if you want to get things done, you have to be the one that takes charge and takes the front and just inspires other people to come along with you to make sure that things get done the way they should. Ultimate fulfillment of this life cycle is you finding fulfillment in this, you feeling that satisfaction of knowing that things are working the way that they're supposed to work. I feel like by you stepping into this leadership role, and I don't know that you're hired into it, I don't know that you're promoted into it, I feel like it's more you just take this leadership role because everybody else is too apathetic to even do it, so you're just doing it. But by taking this leadership role, I think you find this very fulfilling and satisfying. And I think that you are going to be taking this work much farther. This feels to me like just kind of the beginning of the chain of events for you as far as career-wise. I feel like this is just the beginning of building a really great career where you make a huge impact on the people that you work with in a very positive way. So yeah, so that's your month. So thank you so much for stopping by, Aquarius, for hanging out, for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, and for all your wonderful comments. I do read all of those. I don't always have time to respond back to them, but I do read every single one of them. And I hope everybody here has a fantastic month. I'll see you back here the next time. Peace out.